Hey Zeke, I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
I can.
Cool beans.
Are you ready to be
Yeah,
interviewed on my show?
yeah. It should be fun. I have no idea what let me choose a background.
All
Let's
right.
see.
I've already
Uh,
started recording.
okay,
I
cool.
can cut the beginning.
That's okay. Let's
All
see.
right.
I don't know how to choose a background on here.
You go into preferences,
Oh, is
you
it
go into background,
preferences?
and we'll see how the chroma key works.
Okay. Virtual background. I because I usually use a blur.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Add image or video. I use this a lot sometimes, but no, the chrome that looks terrible.
We kind of want the opposite of that. We kind of want
Yes,
your,
exactly. None,
you know.
none. Let's go with none. So
All
let
right.
me just close my bedroom door in the
Okay.
corner there that you see
The other side, right?
right
Yeah.
there.
There's a hula hoop or something. Was that
Cool.
was
And
that a was that a hula hoop or a bike wheel?
it's three hula hoops.
Is that for exercise?
Yeah,
All right.
Shell can hula hoop.
Oh,
I
cool.
can't.
Does she do
Yeah.
tricks and stuff? I mean, I know.
No, she just does. I think she can go into the arm, and that's about it.
Right.
She can like get it to like come up and like she can like kind of like shimmy it down. And there was a woman in the park that was trying to show her tricks.
How'd it go?
It went okay a little bit.
All
It
right.
was funny though because the woman was looking at Shell, hula hooping, and she was just like, "Oh, I can show you some stuff." So hula hoop brings people together.
I think that was the whole idea. I think it was actually invented before the 50s, but then it just got popular in the 50s. It got
Right, it
taken up.
exploded.
But I think I'd been around for a while. All right. So I have this YouTube channel, Earthlings of Interest.
Nice,
I
nice,
put
cool,
like
cool.
some old stuff on it, and now I'm just starting to do more stuff and go through people I know. And then, but I think are basically going to address your public persona, even
Oh,
though I
okay.
know you as a friend.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
have a public persona? And if so, what
Uh,
is it?
my public persona is I don't know, the cool guy, nice guy, always trying to be friends and help people to get along. I like it when people get along, so I like being a facilitator of that.
So, what form does it take, like on the internet or in any
Uh,
kind of like outlet?
usually I'll I'll post something intriguing on Facebook
Uh huh.
and not definitely not poking fun or anything at people I know,
Right.
but I could poke fun at people in the news or poke fun at sports figures and stuff like that. Like the other day, I mentioned the whole Kwame Brown situation that's going on. If you don't know the NBA and basketball, Kwame Brown was a basketball player who played for about 12 years. He retired maybe a few years ago. And he was one of those phenoms that came out of high school, like a Kobe Bryant or LeBron James and Kevin Garnett. These kids that come out of high school and they immediately make an impact, like those three have. But Kwame Brown never made a significant impact. They consider him like probably one of the biggest busts in NBA history. But he wasn't terrible. I mean, he played for 12 seasons. So if you were terrible, you're playing for one or two. But he was always just mediocre. And two former basketball players who have podcasts each, and they appear in each other's podcasts. Matt Barnes and I think Steven Jackson. they one episode of their podcast, they made fun of him.
Just
And
like how badly he was playing,
yeah, how badly he was back in the day and how much of a bust he was.
and that people believed in him and he dropped
Yeah,
the ball,
and he
or they were
totally
wrong.
dropped. And they were wrong
But
about him.
they blame him rather than the people predicting he
Right.
was.
Yeah, they were really getting personal, and it got crazy, and then he heard about their podcast,
Okay.
and then he started making YouTube videos about them. And
Okay.
so
Personal
now
as well.
personal, yeah, totally personal, totally personal. And there's been this back and forth. So I posted that, like, has the Kwame Brown situation come to a head already? Is it
Has it
enough of them?
peaked?
Yes, has it peaked?
Yeah.
Because I felt that it's getting out of hand. I'm like, it's out
Right.
of hand
Because
now.
it's really personal and swinging wild and dirty fighting stuff.
Exactly. They're fighting dirty, and I'm just like, why can't guys just get along?
All right.
Why can't they?
And how did your post go down?
People laughed. Some people were just like, I don't know if it's over yet, stuff like that, and some people just like, oh, I haven't gotten enough of it yet. I'm sitting here with the popcorn, ready
So,
for more. So
so do
it's
you think
it's
do you think the participants know that they're doing a reality show,
um
or do
good
you think they're
question.
caught up in it? I guess you never know.
Well, you never know. One guy, Matt Barnes, he's like scared now. He's like, "Oh, I think he's being violent, and he's gonna, we gotta watch out for him."
You mean
And
physically violent or
yeah,
verbally violent? Oh,
physically
physically? Yeah,
violent.
okay.
Yes. Meanwhile, Kwame Brown's like, "I'm not gonna hit you. I'm not gonna lay a finger
Are
on
they
you."
in the same room?
No, no,
Yeah, I thought this was all through
it's all
different platforms.
it is. It
Yeah.
is. It's just it's
Okay.
every day a back and forth, a
All
back and
right. So don't you have a podcast or a budding
Yes,
podcast?
I do have a budding podcast. I
Okay.
did put out about 4 episodes.
And who did you interview, or what was your subject matter for
I
each of them?
didn't interview anyone.
Okay.
Basically, it's called Zeke the Freak Mashing Up Geek.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to mash up current events and geek culture. Some episodes were just straight up geek culture. Other episodes were I was able to mix up politics with geek culture. Like my very first episode, I wouldn't say it's a very good episode, because I'm just learning.
Well, it's hard for you just to be the only guy. You
Right,
need like some kind of,
exactly.
even Tim Dillon has a guy like at the computer and sort of like maybe with levels who like
Yeah,
laughs,
right.
he's
And then
so it's
comments like, "Hey, what do
yeah,
you think about that?"
or he doesn't even refer him. He just hears him. You can just see him sort of giggling on the side. I mean, even so, it's like he doesn't participate at all, but he's on camera. But he's
Right,
pretty much like
right,
an engineer, but he's
right.
laughing, like he's obviously a fan
And
of
that's
his
what
stuff. So, I mean, it's murder to just be you.
Oh yeah, no, it was hard that first
Yeah,
episode. And friends of mine, they listened to it and they were all saying, you need a partner, you
a
need someone to
foil,
play off. Yeah,
even
you
if
need
it's
someone
just
to play off of.
like what a Craig Ferguson has, like a robot or whatever.
Yes, yes.
Even if it's like, yeah,
Even if it's like that, it's just like they said, you need something.
yeah, to
You're
play
great
off
when
of.
you play
Yeah,
off somebody.
I agree. So where is it sort of? Is there a
It's
moratorium on it, or is it
Yes,
dead in the water?
there is a moratorium. I've been trying to think of ways of how to go about, because see, I like geek culture, I like talking current events and
Right,
pop culture, and I like talking politics.
right,
And I was trying to figure out a way to maybe to like mix those things. So like I
yeah.
was saying, the first episode was called "How Was the 2016 election, presidential election, like the movie Doctor Strange, what is right now the first Doctor Strange movie.
Okay,
The second one soon. And I made comparisons. It was like, okay, like the villain is like this person. Doctor Strange is like this person. The Ancient One is like this group. the Caecilius's
And you
minions are
need
like this
your
group.
sidekick to go like, yeah, you're right.
Yes,
Hey.
exactly.
So
So
I'm
I
like,
didn't have somebody to say, "Oh yeah, you're right," or "Yeah, I don't
or
see that." I don't
snicker like that other guy.
exactly,
Anything, because it's like it's
exactly.
what is it on some show or whatever? It's like this is dead air, and it's like I can't remember what movie that is. I don't know if it's but so was the reason you stopped it because of your friend's reaction, your reaction,
No,
or
no,
the
I
amount of
actually
views you got?
no, yeah, I didn't get a lot of views because I don't think I marketed myself
Right.
well. I tried to like word of mouth it with people, and some people did I was like, subscribe to my podcast, go and subscribe, and there's was like oh, okay, but that wasn't the reason. The reason was trying to figure out, can I marry all my interests together into one show, or should I marry all of my interests into one show? And it
Okay.
was, so that's where I'm stuck.
See, so you were questioning the concept of the show?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I'm
Because I
stuck
like
in the
I
concept.
love the concept. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
think you need a foil.
yeah.
Even if
That's what everyone tells me.
even if you had like a keyboard sampler and you could even respond to, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
If you didn't
Yep.
want to organize, because sometimes it's hard to organize another human being to get together, even in a virtual space. But even
Make
if you
a
had like a sound effects thing or something, like you had keyboards and you knew which key would trigger whatever sample, you could
that's
almost
sounds like a good
comment on
idea.
yourself. But
That's a good idea.
because
But
even what's his face, even Howard Stern had like Jackie the Jokeman, and
mhm.
he's always had what's his name,
And
um,
Robin,
yeah, and Robin,
Robin
yeah,
and Baba Booey.
yeah. So it's almost he didn't even have like one; he had a whole team. But
Yes,
before
yeah,
in the early days, he had Fred, right? Yes, it was Fred.
right. He
Like
had
even in the
Fred.
early days, it was like because I think Fred, whatever. I'm remembering the movie rather than Fred came in. Is like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, then like because I think Howard was doing it on his own. So I mean, I really I put stuff up and then I get all caught up with how many views and why does this thing get like 4,000 views and this
Right,
thing,
right.
which is virtually kind of the same tone, the
Got to play with the
same almost like the same content in a weird
hmm.
way gets like 50 and one gets 4,000.
Well, see,
And I
here's
get
the
all caught up and then I have to say, it's just chaos and just I
see.
just
I'm not
what?
caught up in that. It's like what's weird is there is a show on YouTube that I admire. It's called Double Toasted. It's two guys named Corey and Martin, and there are these two black guys who they review movies, they review shows, but it's mainly like geeky movies and shows, and Corey will then, with his wife and his friend from New York, uh they'll they'll talk about crazy things that they've seen in the news, and they'll talk current events and politics, but just like if something crazy happened in current events and
Right.
politics, they just don't, oh, here's what happened in the news today. No, they don't do that. It's like if something crazy,
So
like
you're
the other
saying
day they
it's
did.
similar to your concept? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
similar to my concept, but they do it on
Separate.
different days. They
Oh, on
do it
different.
separately.
Right.
So my thing is,
You want to mash them, as you say, more.
yeah, I kind of want to mash them,
Yeah.
but I don't want to. Don't want to do like a 3-hour show like they do. They'll do like 3-4 hours and
And
then
how
cut them up.
popular are they?
Oh,
Oh, they
they're
cut
pretty
them up.
popular. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty popular.
Well, so all right. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
well, they're
mean,
popular on their website and SoundCloud,
yeah.
and their YouTube presence is still rising.
So okay.
And I don't know if I have time to dedicate myself to generating all that all that content.
Yeah. I go in like fits and starts
Yeah,
like on
that
different things like this channel's been around, I don't know, since 2017. I put like one thing up that I'd done for a public access show years later. And
Mm-hmm.
like now I'm just getting into like doing it because I'm sort of at a plateau with music and film.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I did buy, there were the yard sales or sidewalk sales on the streets today and yesterday. And there were like a whole table full of, Barbie dolls and the like. And so I was like, oh, I got to go in there and get my cheap movie cast. And I already have a whole box of Barbie dolls, but these I thought I could get
Are you
for
gonna
a
do a
cheap.
version of the Karen Carpenter story?
I already did it, with the Psychotic Odyssey and that Dostoevsky Dream of a Ridiculous
Oh,
Man.
okay,
And then
cool.
I did one where it was just like sped up dolls, but I had the soundtrack of this MGTOW guy on YouTube called Sandman, who has this very robotic delivery of everything, and it's all like the
Mm-hmm.
movie's called Heavenly Resentments. I can't really post it because there's porno in it too. So but it's just all these like dolls from all these like beautiful dolls from like the Twilight series or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
I just sort of like, and then I have all my other like sort of raggedy dolls, and that's just the visual. And then I have these tableaus and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then the soundtrack is just this guy having, it's just like, girls, suck. It's just for the modern He-Man woman haters
The
club.
He-Man woman's head,
And that
the
and that at
high
the end,
sign.
yeah, at the end, his solution is robot female companions. So that kind of conceptually goes with the whole doll thing. It's,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a film, you could make during COVID because you don't have to leave your house.
Right,
So,
exactly.
so
Good.
a lot of it's just laziness that I'm gonna get a very
Good
cheap,
idea. Good
cheap
idea.
cast of dolls. I don't know. I feel like I want to make another instructional film. So,
Okay.
how's the writing going?
Oh, the writing's going good. I'm working on, well, still not published, but I've got my novella out in 2 places. Well, I had it recently out in 4 places, and it got rejected by 2.
And remind the
And
audience the genre.
the genre of my novella was sci-fi. It's
Okay.
I would say it was a little bit of cyberpunk, and but a lot more probably like space opera, I would say,
And what's the
because
title and how many pages?
it's called the Ananda Accords,
Okay.
and it's about 92 pages, I think it is.
All right. And how
And
many places have you submitted?
oh, I've submitted to many places. I'm waiting to hear back from 2.
Do you put your rejection slips on a big
On a
post,
big nail, like
like
Stephen
Stephen King?
King.
You might have told me that actually.
Yes,
Okay.
Stephen King did that. And yeah, I read that in Stephen King on Writing.
And did he have like children too and a wife and
Later on, yeah. He started the nail when he was a teenager.
okay.
When he was submitting when he was a teenager.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And I think somebody else did something similar to that. I think Todd McFarlane did something similar.
Who's
Todd
like,
McFarlane's a comic book writer and artist, and he created Spawn.
okay.
And that's like his big famous work.
I remember because I grew up in Maine and my father was reading Carrie. That was his
Yes.
breakout. And my father
Yes.
was like, he's a really good writer, but why does he have to write, like horror? It's like, why does he write something? But
Something nice.
I don't know about something like my father's more into biographies and stuff, but I think he wasn't a horror or sci-fi sort of guy.
Yes.
So
So
you've
yeah,
got
the
so you've
Nanda
got you.
causes that
Mhm.
it's sci-fi, and but it's a novella, and since I'm an untested
Right.
writer, novellas are hard to sell.
Aren't you supposed to do short stories in little publications
Well,
first?
that's what they say. They
Right.
you should do short. I did a few short stories that I may go back and
The Ray Bradbury way.
And somebody else is also what's her name, Octavia Butler as well. She
Did it
said
that way.
October, that short story should be like
Your
the
entree.
training
Yeah.
for for your novel. And I'm
As
just
far
like,
as like
yeah,
marketing, or because,
no, it's
or just like,
practice
oh, as actually writing skill.
as a
Yeah.
writing practice.
I thought it was a matter of like, getting your name out. Maybe.
No,
No, not
but I
necessarily.
mean, yeah, no, not necessarily.
A
Uh,
novella, if it rang with the
if it rings
zeitgeist, and a
true,
publisher
yes.
said I can make money on this,
Yes,
then okay,
exactly.
doesn't matter.
But we're now in an era where publishers and literary agents, they don't want to waste their time
Yeah.
on novellas.
Is there a glut?
Probably, and it's just hard to sell. It's hard to,
Um,
if you get like something that's 90,000 words, you can charge $15 to $25
okay.
to sell it. But if something is 40,000 words and under 30, like my thing is 33,000 words.
Okay.
Um, yeah, now you're asking for like, oh, give me $5 for this.
Right.
And literary agents and publishers, they want to make money. They don't want to sell
Right.
books for
Of course.
$5.
So what's the other thing besides the novella?
Well, I'm working
Yeah.
on daily a manuscript, a novel that is fantasy.
Uh-huh. What's it called?
It's called currently the current title, and it's going to change. It's called
Uh-huh.
War Drums on the Riverfront.
Okay.
But a lot of the subject matter within kind of like moved away from the concept of war drums, and well,
What's a
not really war drums, but uh maybe the riverfront. So the concept kind of shifted away a little bit from that theme of
and
war
war
drums
drums
and
meaning
river
sort of
drums.
like we're drumming before we back to do battle? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The
And
heralding the massacre.
heralding a battle, because my book it is about two two warrior clans being pushed to war by unknowingly by a third
Unknowing.
party.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But
I
it's
just saw I just
not
saw
all that.
I just heard about this movie. I think I'd seen the poster in like a John Waters movie called I Hate Your Guts. And it's this Roger Corman message movie, and it was actually originally titled The Intruder, and William Shatner's in it. So I was like, I gotta get it. Came out in like 1962, and it's during the integration of the schools, and the town is a southern town, and they're sort of like, we're not really thrilled about this, but whatever, we're gonna obey the law. But
Yeah.
Shatner comes down as an instigator and starts making these speeches and fires up the town. I haven't seen it yet, but I was like, it sounds perfect.
Cool.
And I was like,
perfect.
and it didn't do well in the box office, but I'm collecting sort of DVDs because I know they're being phased out, and I like having the physical copy. So I've yet to watch it, but it seems like they were like, we're not thrilled about this, but we're not totally against it until Shatner comes down and starts to make trouble. And apparently, even in the town where they shot it, they were like, we don't like this message that this movie makes us look like these horrible people. So
make us change the message.
But I mean, I like the idea of it being relatively peaceful, and then someone coming in, and isn't that what's the one, The Music Man? I never saw that, but isn't that the same kind of instigator guy comes into a relatively peaceful place and then just like,
well, yeah, it's a relatively peaceful, and I would even say idyllic place, and he basically wants to run a scam, and then leave real quick, but his scam is too good. He sticks around.
Is it good? Should I get The Music Man?
I don't know if you should get it. You should definitely see it. It's a classic. It's a musical classic.
What's an agent provocateur? Is that someone who goes into a riot and makes or goes into a protest and turns it into a riot?
It turns into a riot, or
pretending he's on one side and becoming violent,
or goes into a meeting and basically turns the meeting into chaos,
Right.
that sort of thing.
Does this apply to your idea or?
No, the person is not an agent provocateur. Well, he is, but he's doing it for money.
Okay.
Basically, if the two clans go to war, they get out of his way in what he wants to institute, a money-making scheme
Oh,
that will change society.
okay. So they fight his war for him, or they do
It's
his.
not his war, but they're out of the basically they're two clans that are against what he is
Okay.
all about. And
And
so
he
if
turns
they
one.
fight each
Yeah.
other, they're out of his way and he is free to do what
Got
he
it.
wants to do.
All right. What other outlets do you have? Or
Uh
as far as like creative outlets or
I
what's going?
like I like world building for fun
Is that a
and
video
character
game?
creation. No. I just like world building for fun. I like
In what?
taking
How does that manifest itself in the world?
I like taking like RPG games and create characters and just create worlds, create
What's an
societies.
RPG game?
Role-playing games,
Okay.
like Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons and
So can
stuff
you
like
do that
that.
by yourself?
Yeah. I don't play them. I
Right.
just create
Okay.
characters and
And
worlds,
do they
plans.
become literature or do they just
Yes, they do. They have.
okay?
Like I've created characters uh via this method.
Okay.
I think it's a good way of creating characters. And we're now finding that like a lot of like writers, a lot of screenwriters, and a lot of like television writers and some authors, quite a few authors now, they played Dungeons and Dragons growing up.
Yeah.
So they were creating characters,
Right.
creating worlds, telling stories.
Yeah.
Um, since they were kids, and a
Yeah.
lot of them didn't realize it until like when Dungeons and Dragons made a resurgence. I'd say maybe about 15 years ago or so, probably when Vin Diesel came out and admitted that he is a huge Dungeons and Dragons.
Still, or was it?
And
Is he
still,
okay? Yeah.
there was a YouTube channel that I think Nerdist, their YouTube channel, they ran a campaign basically for what's his name? For
Vin?
Vin Diesel.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. And what and so when and once
Because
people
he was getting a lot of
realized
he was getting a lot of shame for being a D&D guy.
no
No.
one knew, no one knew.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then one day he wrote they came I don't know who did, but someone came out with a book, nonfiction book on the history of Dungeons and Dragons, and it came out, I think it was like the 25th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, and or 30th anniversary. And Vin Diesel wrote the forward.
Huh.
And when people saw that Vin Diesel
Okay.
wrote the forward, they were like, wait,
That's
Vin
what outed
Diesel?
him.
And that's what outed him, I guess. And then people were like, oh, I played
Oh
Dungeons and
yeah. Oh,
Dragons
that's good.
too. And
All
people
right.
started coming out of the woodwork,
That's the way it
celebrities.
works.
And
Do you know that what's his name? Billy Bob Thornton is a big My Little Pony fan.
yes,
There's a whole My Little.
I've heard that he's a brony.
Yeah, that's what they're called. Yeah.
Yes, bronies. That I don't get. But
No.
whatever. Hey, whatever, to
I
each
don't
his
understand
own.
because he looks completely different from his sling blade
Well,
face.
they think he's manorexic, so
I read that on Wikipedia too. Yeah, I thought
Mhm.
he's either a heroin enthusiast or I guess manorexic is
Or
fine.
manorexic, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, now you've got the actor Joe Manganiello, who he played Alcide on True Blood, if people remember. And for those who watched the Justice League movie, he played Deathstroke at the end of the Justice League movie. This guy, he's like a big, beefy, hunky guy. Women love him.
Oh, that guy? Was he the
And
werewolf guy in
Yes, he played the werewolf on True
True
Blood.
Blood. Yeah, yeah. What
Yes,
happened? What's up
the
with
nice
him?
werewolf.
Yeah.
He is a huge Dungeons and Dragons
Okay.
fan.
Well, nobody's gonna give him any grief for that.
No, and he's married to Sofia Vergara.
There you
So
go.
nerds out there, don't become silly
Don't
little
give
incels.
up.
There is no need to become an incel.
Just
Just be a decent, cool person,
maybe
and,
hit the weight room
yeah, maybe hit the
once in a
weight room,
while.
and you can bag you a Sofia Vergara type.
Yeah.
So calm down and don't go on crazy shooting sprees out there for nothing, because the problem's you.
Yeah,
So
that's the thing is that yeah, it's because I've been researching the whole manosphere thing, and I'm like, okay, some of the people can make some interesting points, but it's almost gives license to people, for people to not look at their own
yes,
BS, which is what's important.
you gotta fix
Kind of
here.
like, and like, yeah, everything's become weaponized and
Mm-hmm.
like that. And
Gotta
but
fix here first.
yeah, and it's, I don't know. I don't really listen to like comments and people like sparring. I'm not on Twitter. That stuff just seems
Mm-hmm.
like, you might as well. I don't know. It just
I have
seems.
2 Twitter accounts for
Yeah.
that.
How are they?
One is to vent, and
Okay.
one is more to like help create an author platform. So I don't vent on my author platform. I
Yeah.
just point out, I support other writers, like my friend, she's in my writing group, and I support her Twitter, her author Twitter, and on my author Twitter, I'll like put up like a 1 sentence piece of advice,
Right.
writing advice, sort of like
So
that I've learned in like
so
the
what
week or
has
so.
what has Twitter done? Is it still as crazy as ever, or is
Yeah,
it
it
ever
still is
gonna?
crazy, but they've gotten rid of a lot of haters on
And where do
there.
those crazies go? Do they go to like
They
the
go to
crazier side?
Parlor,
Yeah.
and they
Wasn't that
go
shut
to
down or is that back up
Paul is
again?
back up again.
Okay.
Paul is back up again.
Yeah.
But they
'Cause-
go there, and they go to Gab.
okay.
That's where the crazies go.
It all seems like, I mean, it just seems like a hotbed of projection, meaning like, because most
It
people like
is.
are peeved at something they don't like in themselves. I mean, I learned that as a
Oh yeah, yeah,
teenager reading Herman
yeah.
Hesse novels.
That's
It's like,
exactly what's going on. I remember there was a journalist who was being harassed by a Twitter guy, and
yeah,
he kind of like had a fake account, and then they were going back and forth for a while, and then she was just like, we need to talk. This is getting out of
in
hand.
person,
We
and
need to talk
yeah,
in person. This is
it's
crazy.
probably a projection of like his ex-wife who screwed him in a
And
divorce or something. Yeah, or
I think it was it a
uh,
woman or another man. I can't remember, but basically the person was like was going through a breakup.
right,
Their father
in hospice or
was
something. I
like
don't
in
know.
hospice. No,
Yeah.
yeah. Their father was like had like either like just died or was
Okay.
dying,
Yeah.
and the journalist father had just died, and this
And
person
that's
was
where they
saying,
bonded. Yeah. Okay. No.
well, that's what
Sorry.
they well, she found out that it was like kind of like the same thing, and this person was like saying like, oh, your father, he would be ashamed of you
Wow.
writing that article.
Wow.
And then she like found out that like they were going through like a family death, or
And
somebody in
he
the
didn't know
family
that,
was dying. The journalist didn't know that.
or the.
Oh,
Okay.
the person who was saying these things.
That
Yeah,
to
oh yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
when they talked in person, was it resolved? And like,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
resolved.
yeah,
And he was like ashamed, and it
yeah.
was like
That's the
basically
whole
it
like
was all
anonymity.
him. It
That's
was
all the
all him.
anonymity thing. It's like that Milgram experiment or whatever, where people were able to,
Mm-hmm.
at a distance and with the authority of a guy in a white coat saying like, no, you know, zap the person even though it's in the red lethal area, and the whole distance of being able to anonymously
Mm-hmm.
pick on people.
Right.
And that's, I think, what people were afraid of with the whole, like, being having nuclear weapons being like a push of a button. And it's like
Yes,
this,
and
the
drone
disconnect.
strikes and drone
Yeah.
strikes. This
I mean,
is like I can blow up a village. I can blow up a convoy
yeah,
just by
with,
watching it on a video screen with a joystick.
yeah. And it's weird. It's almost like the where we're at now. It's almost like on the one side, you're like, it's a miracle it hasn't happened, something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But in a small way, it has happened in these with these drone strikes and so forth. But we haven't
Mm-hmm.
had, I don't know. So I'm gonna put the fan on because I'm getting hot.
Yes, I've got my fan on. My central air does not go into effect until this
Oh,
coming weekend.
so SNL had its first maskless episode last night. I didn't watch it. I just
Oh, I
saw
didn't
some new
watch it
stuff.
either.
I just saw some new stuff on YouTube. They send me some SNL stuff. So, but the interesting thing is that the people in the foreground, there was sort of like four cast members did the intro. But then I
Mm-hmm.
look in the background and the band still has masks on. So I'm like, what's going
Yeah,
on?
what's going on? What's that all
And
about?
everyone's like crying and talking about all this
Somebody's
stuff.
not trusting.
So I'm like, I don't know what's up. It's like, I thought it was July too. We were supposed to open New York.
Yeah,
And
well, they said, well, it was this past Wednesday.
so how was your 2020?
My 2020 was terrible. I got COVID.
Yeah.
I got COVID in late April.
Did it
No,
take
no,
two?
late March into early April.
Did
I
it
had
take
COVID.
like 2 weeks to recover?
Yeah, it was 17 days. For me,
And
it was
we,
17 days.
okay.
And my wife, she was 7 days.
Okay.
So as she was getting better, I was getting worse. So it's just like,
Crossfade.
so it was
What else besides getting COVID?
well, I was able to work from home. That was good.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for that.
Okay.
And I hope to continue to still work from home.
Right.
Now that we're supposedly my company's going to revisit if they should open back up fully or
Yeah.
be like some kind of hybrid situation in September.
And what do you think's happening to New York City?
People are going to come back, and if those people don't come back, new people are going to take their places.
I mean, as far
can't
as jobs, or as far as, because I hear a lot of people are leaving and going
yeah, people are leaving. People are
yeah.
leaving.
And
And
I think that working from home, there's going to be like
well,
a
that's
building
that's
price
the thing. That's going to
rent,
be there's going to be a commercial real estate
real
crisis
estate
coming
crisis.
down
Yeah.
because we've cracked the code of
Yeah.
working from home.
Right.
You know, we've figured it out that companies that maybe had maybe like half a dozen people working from home or a dozen people work from home, they were able to shift gears and get 50 people working from home,
Yeah.
100 people
And
working, hundreds of people working from home.
I talked to some like hedge fund guy, and he's like, I'm moving to Florida because of the property taxes in New York. So it's like, I think a lot of like rich people are
Yeah,
leaving.
rich people are gonna go away. The prices are gonna drop, and then new people are gonna fill that void.
But I thought the rich people were going to pay the taxes.
I don't know.
I don't
Maybe.
know.
Well, they were supposed to. They're supposed to. Well,
I
that's
don't
the
know.
thing. Rich people will always run away from their
Right. But I mean,
financial
yeah,
burdens.
because dollar is number one. The
Yes.
thing is, I mean, this is a bit of a tangent, but when I was there at the table with all the dolls, she had about like maybe like 40 dolls, maybe even more. And I negotiated to buy 22, and I was counting them. I was selecting all the ones because I wanted them different from my typical cast. I want some variety.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave her the $100, and she was crestfallen. I mean, she wasn't thrilled to get the money. She was sort of like, I could tell that she still loved the dolls. And this guy coming in and just like, because she'd been there 2 days and pretty much all the dolls were still there. I went in
Yes.
and like completely
She was probably gonna like
took
turn around
half
like,
of them.
see, I tried to sell them. Oh well.
But it reminds me of like in Ghost World where she's like trying to sell stuff in the yard, and she's like,
It's like,
and that's not
nope,
for
not that
sale.
one.
Like she
That
changes her mind.
well, that
And then
happened to me years ago.
meaning she had more sentiment. I mean, she had an emotional connection to these dolls, and for me to come
Yes.
in and give her like $100 for, what'll you give me for $100? And um, you could tell because I was happy and I thought she would be happy, but she wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really happy. I was
It's
like,
like
"Here's your money.
we came to an
Have a great
understanding.
day."
It's like,
She's just like, and it wasn't. I don't know if these were. I think these were her kids' dolls. I don't think they were hers, but it was
oh, I
also.
don't know.
But I was really happy because I had like a inexpensive cast members, and maybe it'll inspire me to make something.
Well, the years ago
But
that
she
happened
was
to
kind
me,
of crushed.
I was walking down the street and I saw a man and his son. His
Uh-huh.
son was maybe about 8 or 9. Uh, they were selling comic books on the street.
Yeah.
And, I collect comics, and I don't collect comics so much now, but because I just don't have space. But
Right.
at that time I was just like, ooh, comics, and so he's selling them, cheap. And I'm just like, oh, I want this. And it's the same situation. And then I went for like another comic, and the son, he like bristled. He bristled.
Yeah.
And the dad saw it. And
Ugh.
the dad looked at him and was just like, you want that?
Right.
And the kid was like, yeah, dad, I want that. I want to do that. And the kid goes, and so the dad goes, sorry, my son, he still wants that. So he took it off the table and gave it to the son. And then the son was just like, and that one too. And it was like another.
Yeah.
So the kid, like, so they took like 2 back. So it's just like, okay, I get it. It's just like,
I get it
get
too. Because I'm like, I've like tons of books and I've read, at least a third of all of them, if not all. And I remember moving because space is a whole thing in New York. And I was like, and I got rid of some books. And then I was like, where are my Philip K. Dick books? And I was like, and I bought them back again. I was just like, I need them.
Well, that's like when I moved, when my dad passed away and I moved into his apartment.
Yeah.
And I had to, like, the time came for me to like officially buy the apartment, because they would not let me just slide into the apartment as a family member, because I didn't live here. So if I had lived here with my dad for 2 years
You'd have
before he
rights to
died,
it.
I would have had rights to
Yeah.
it. But because I didn't, I technically didn't
Did
have
they at
rights
least
to
give
it.
you, a good price?
Yeah. But I needed money to like bolster it. So I sold a
Okay.
lot of comic books
Yeah.
around that time. And so some of those comic books, they were crap, but people wanted them.
Okay.
But others, I was just like, oh, this was a good issue. But I can't hold on to it. It's more important that I buy the apartment, that I have money to buy the apartment.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, okay, so yeah, so even I've gone through that, and when I've been on that end of the stick as well.
Yeah. So I felt a little bad. I was like,
oh yeah,
because I thought just like, because she still has a hell of a lot of dolls on the table. I just took maybe a third of them or whatever. But and also maybe it wasn't maybe it was like, who's this guy coming in just buying a whole sketch? I guess if I went in and said, well, I'm an artist and I'm going to make it part of my art piece, maybe she'd be like, oh, but it just seemed like some kind of
like
guy some opportunist who just like grabs all this, has no sentimental value. It's like, doesn't know
he's
that
probably like, he's just gonna buy these and turn them around. He's gonna turn them over.
Yeah. I'm gonna sell them on eBay for twice as much. And I think it was Goofy Gus. I can't sell Goofy Gus in Ghost World.
Right.
He doesn't know. This is this doll and I got through junior high, the slings and arrows of junior high. Me and Amy happy pants like made it through or what, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Here comes this guy like, I'll take them all these stuff. They're
A
gonna take all this.
fine movie.
What? Which one? Ghost
Ghost
World?
World, yes,
I thought it was
yes.
great.
Yeah. It was really good. She was great in that. Thora Birch was great in that.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was gonna end when she at the ending, like everything's effed up and she's like finally it looks and that's at night and she looks like from like maybe from on high or whatever. It seems to be like a high shot of the guy, the old man who sits at the defunct bus stop where she's like, oh, this bus doesn't, was discontinued a long time ago. And he kind of just says, you don't know what you're talking about. And he just seems like the crazy guy and she knows better. And then she finally like sees this bus that's like lit from within and like pick him up and kind of go away. And she kind of goes like, and then it fades out. And I thought, oh, that's perfect way to end it. But it's like, yeah, I don't know everything. I'm not a know-it-all. I'm not above it all.
Exactly.
And then suddenly she gets some humility to kind of go like, maybe I can get some humility and grow up and maybe learn
and grow
something
exactly
other than just be this superior. But then it fades up and she gets on the bus and like, so that's like two different movies.
Yeah,
one is that there's hope. What?
They probably like made them do like a more
I don't know which one is the Dan Close ending of the comic because I couldn't get into his stuff.
I never
I
read the comic.
Yeah.
I remember when the comic was out,
because like one movie is like you get this glimmer of like maybe there's some hope that she might learn that maybe she doesn't know everything.
And they leave it up to you to decide it, and then when you see her get on the bus,
but then when she gets on the bus, it becomes like 5 Easy Pieces where he just keeps running. You know what I mean? And he's going to Alaska, and he's forgotten his coat and his wallet.
Right?
He's effed. But like I kind of like because it was such an exquisite moment where she was kind of like, oh. And I felt, but that was the whole thing. I felt like there were two endings there. I guess I buy both of them, but I almost like one of them. There's a bit. It ends on like a new beginning,
right? Exactly.
And then her getting on the bus and driving off to nowhere is kind of like she's never going to change. And it's
exactly. Well, exactly. Will she change? It doesn't look like it by getting on the bus.
But it's really, it's a great movie overall, and just like. To like be in that world and understand adolescence in a certain in not a realistic way, but there are a certain truths about it that kind of transcend even that are rich, that even if it's sort of like done in this goofy style, because it's a bit it's low budget and mannered and stuff. It's not realistic, but it's not.
And it was an independent film.
Yeah, it was the guy who made Crumb. Terry Zweigel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he did also Art School Confidential, which I don't think was as successful, but it's interesting. I'm boiling in here. Yeah, I was thinking the fan was. I thought the fan was gonna disrupt the microphone.
No, I heard you clearly.
All right. So it's called Earthlings of Interest. So I hope we're interesting.
Yes, doesn't matter. We're interesting too, and
like 8 people watched the last one.
Well, just tell people to be creative. Try to be creative daily.
Stop bickering on Twitter and make a movie about it.
Yes, make a comedy about Twitter, Parler, and Gab,
or write a short story or something, because I do think it's a lot of wasted energy.
It is. That's why I don't tweet rant. That's why I don't tweet rant so much anymore. And that's why I even posting on Facebook. I maybe post on Facebook once a day, and
I had to withdraw from Facebook for like 6 months, and just
Yeah,
because I was
yeah.
getting all worked up, and
Yeah,
I
it gets you
realized,
worked up, and it's
and
like
then
it's
it's
wasted
emptiness.
energy. It's
It's just, and then
empty.
you get
It's
this empty
empty
feeling. It's
calories.
actually exactly, it's
It's
empty
empty
calories.
calories, and you get worked up for nothing. My wife used to tell me, Shell used to tell me,
Yes,
um, you
she's still
know,
with us, right?
yes,
Okay.
she's still with us. She's
I didn't
still
want
with
people to
us.
think. Okay.
She would tell me, "Hey, you're wasting, you're giving away content. You're
Yeah, yeah,
giving
yeah,
it
yeah.
away
That's the
to
thing.
nobody for nothing."
That's the thing now, that I mean, maybe one of the downsides. I mean, it's amazing that the internet's here and all this technology is on a boom, but we do miss the delayed gratification. We do miss the
Mm-hmm.
creativity that can come from lack,
Yep.
can come from um limited options, because then the but also like there's so much free education, like you can learn so much if you have an interest
Mm-hmm.
to go on YouTube and learn about stuff, and it's not going to cost you anything. So back into I heard listened to this interview with Al Diaz, and then these people talking about Basquiat, and re-listen to an Arkrum uh bio. What else is going on?
Nothing really other than that. I mean, oh no, I take that back. Um, I've been on several several people's
Shit list?
no, several
Just kidding.
people's well, I was on a friend's YouTube channel
Okay.
recently, about
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Doing what?
We were talking about nerddom, but he usually talks about hip hop, and he had been wanting to like expand his show and maybe spin somebody off from his show to talk about comics and nerddom and stuff like that. And his and so I we talked about the series, the Disney Plus series, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and
Okay.
we all enjoyed it. It was me and him. He was the host, and another friend of ours. And basically, his theme was how black was the Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Okay.
and we got into some the themes of blackness that show got into. And
From
I
one
have
to ten,
to,
from 1 to 10, or how's it
well,
rated?
we should have done it that way, like 10 going to 1, the 10, the
Okay.
top 10 very black things of
Right.
the Falcon and Winter Soldier. We should have done that. But yeah, we just talked about how they brought in the story of the black Captain America from the 1950s, 40s and 50s. That's a comic story that they elected to use. The police not recognizing the Falcon in the street while he's walking the streets of Baltimore and harassing him. And then when the Winter Soldier says, "Do you know who you're talking to?" And then they look and they realize it's an Avenger, and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry." And the Falcon is kind of like, "Really? Are you? Are you just because now you know that I'm an Avenger that you're sorry?" Um, and they also talk about how he, as a black man, he was afraid to take on the mantle of Captain America now that Steve Rogers was retired. And so it was cool stuff like that, and his sister trying to get a bank loan to save the family's fishing business in New Orleans. But
Okay.
meanwhile, even though he can vouch for her, he's the Falcon, a member of the Avengers, and the bank, the loan manager is still like, "Oh, but I don't know, giving loans to black people
He was
might
that
not." Well,
frank.
no, he never came out with it, but he
Of
was
course
like,
not.
"Oh, you did. I don't know if you still qualify," but
You
and she's kind
Falcons
of
don't.
like, my brother is the Falcon.
Yeah, but don't falcons like kill rodents? But aren't rodents
Yes. Rodents are not
pests?
collateral.
Yeah.
Rodents are not good collateral.
All right. Well, I think you know, even if you're a guest on this guy's show or do your own show with a sample or a sidekick, you should do it. Only because
Yes.
I'm on my my podcast role, even though it's not a podcast.
That's the plan. The plan, I need to sit down and like really like pen to paper assess what this show truly needs to be, and
because I think the concept is
I
think the concept is good.
Right.
I think, you know, I don't think you need to tweak, because I get in that same thing, like, well, I have to like make the content better. A lot of times it's just, is it something you can sustain? Is it something, can you produce enough content on a regular basis?
Right.
And I think it'll be easier. You'll be in less of a tunnel of an echo chamber if you have something to play off of, whatever that is, or to be a guest on somebody else's show, especially if it's established audience. And then you can actually bring your best stuff. You can maybe even present it only when you really got ready, some gold, and you do it like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. Time also.
Yeah, because I think the concept is great. I think the mashup of the politics and the comic or the geek world is brilliant. I just think because, well, we're kind of over the nonsense now, but I mean, I think to sort of take the wind out of some of these things, I think is I don't know. I think that just like Mel Brooks, you know, made Springtime for Hitler. That must have been ballsy. You know, I mean, I'm sure his rabbi wasn't really thrilled. But I think the brilliance of the guy is like, look, in the face of evil, we're not going to be intimidated. We're not going to lose our humanity. And this is my response to you, motherfuckers.
And we're going to poke a finger in the eye of that evil.
So yeah, exactly, because it's the only almost sane response to that kind of diabolical evil, where it's like the humanity is just completely shut down and you've become a machine.
Right.
I think the same thing with Kubrick. Finally, he wanted to make Strangelove a serious movie, and until a certain point, he realized this is like, it's not going to work because it's going to be so dry and cold, and that the only response to this kind of overwhelming mass, you're not talking about war, you're talking about mass murder, not war. It's like with hundreds of millions being killed or thousands, it's like it becomes so unthinkable that you kind of have to, and I think that is attributed to the longevity of the film, is that he took that approach, but it was also steeped in facts. He went from the facts up, and even the inside of the B-52, the Air Force was like, this is secret information. I forget this is top secret. Like, you're not supposed to know what it looks like. How do you classified. This classified exactly? It's like this looks exactly there. Well, we saw a manual and we kind of like riffed off a little bit of the whatever, but. Okay, don't get me started with Kubrick.
I know.
I wouldn't know anything about Falcon or comics or that, but
so I can't have you as my I could have you as my sidekick. You'd just be like, what the hell is that?
I don't know what you're talking about, Zeke, but go for it, baby. I love you. All this stuff sounds great. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. No, I'm not. I don't think I'm the sidekick.
Yes, no, that's all right. No,
I got my own show too, man.
Yes, you got your own show.
I'll be bored of this by next week.
Maybe I can get my buddy from Florida. I was on his podcast a few times.
But what about being like the guest on his? Why don't you do like these 10-minute things and like put it as a feature on somebody's like 3-hour show?
Well, that's the thing. I was thinking about if I'm by myself.
Right.
They would have to be like 10
minute,
15 minute tops.
That I agree. I agree. Yeah, I don't think you can. Yeah.
Because my my podcast episodes, I tried to keep them under a half an hour.
Okay.
And I was successful in doing that, in creating 25-minute, 26-minute
Right.
content. And one episode, my Black Panther review, was 15 minutes long.
Okay.
And
I mean,
but
I agree. I think you could do it alone if it was,
yeah, it
10
would have to
minutes.
be short. Yeah, it would have to
Yeah.
be short.
And you can go.
And that I would put on YouTube. I wouldn't put.
Oh yeah,
I would like to put longer stuff
on a
on
podcast.
on a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Well, we're about an hour in.
yeah, yeah. Look at that. Cool, cool.
Um, it's summer's. It's 2021. SNL
Hmm.
is maskless.
Hmm.
What about I heard crimes going up in New York.
Yeah, crime is going up in New York apparently, probably because people are frustrated and cooped up, and a lot of people lost their jobs,
Losing jobs.
losing jobs. A lot of family members lost jobs.
Do you see
So
more homeless people, or is it just me?
I'm not really seeing more homeless
Because
people.
I'm like, I hear like things from the internet, and then I live here, and I'm like, I
Hmm.
try to.
Well, I think what happened is that they pushed out a lot of homeless people from the subways,
Okay,
so they came up into the streets.
there we go. That makes sense.
Meanwhile, they
Yeah,
would be in the subways 24/7,
yeah.
and
I
now
saw.
they
I was going
forced
down
out onto the
Second
streets.
Avenue or whatever, and I saw a lot of homeless people in the bus um bus places where they have a bit of an overhang of stuff. Like every one of
Hmm.
them, there were guys there, and there's guys sleeping on. I don't know. I'm still. I don't know. All right. I don't know how to wrap it up. I feel,
Whoa.
you have any
You
final words?
Yeah, hey, follow me on iTunes. Look for Zeke the Freak Mashing Up Geek.
Okay.
I have a YouTube channel, but it's not much there, so it's not really worth talking about. And follow my author platform on Twitter. It's
Do
let
you want to
me
send me in the chat the links
yeah,
or in
yeah,
an email, and I'll put it in the under the because it's going to be on YouTube.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you
I
approve of this performance or whatever it is,
yeah. So
interview.
it's at my Twitter hand, it's Zeke Springer at Zeke_pen 67.
Okay.
And also I have an author website, an author WordPress website. It's called what is it? Hold on, I'll tell you.
But send me stuff in an email, and I'll post it on the YouTube.
Okay, I will. It's called Strolling Through a Mad Mind.
Is that Mad Mind you?
Let's see.
You're not the Mad
Through
Mind.
a mad, but I'm mad as in crazy.
No, you're not. See, no, you're the.
Let's see. There we go. It's
You're.
it's strolling through a mad mind, my literary madness.
That's where you keep your madness.
Yes,
All right,
I
got to
I
keep it
I
somewhere.
I talk there,
All
and
right.
and there's also a Facebook page for that as well. Strolling through a mad mind, literary madness that spills from my mind, and there you can find a few. It's mainly essays on writing practice, but also I talked a little bit about current events,
What's your
and
favorite?
and a little bit of just observational essays.
What's your hit? What should people go to first? What are you
Uh,
most proud of?
uh, they could. It doesn't matter. I'm
Doesn't
proud of
matter.
all of it.
Okay.
I'm proud of all of it. You can
You don't
go
have a
to.
favorite child?
No, I don't have a favorite child. You know,
Okay.
follow me at all those things. Follow me at Strolling Through a Mad Mind.
Okay.
Follow me at Zeke_pen 67. And follow me on iTunes. I'm currently just on iTunes of Zeke the Freak, Mashing Up Geek. Subscribe.
All right, beautiful.
Leave
Thank you for
a
being part.
rating
What?
and leave a rating because
All
that
right,
helps.
beautiful. Thank you for being on Earthlings of Interest.
Ooh, I'm
Have a
glad.
great
Thank you. Thank you.
afternoon.
Much appreciated. Goodbye.
Be well.
Be well.
Stay safe. Adios.